You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing, ladies? It is your girl, one of your favorite content creators. Y'all should know me by now. I go by the name of Lady Mocha, or you could simply just call me Mocha, representing Mocha's Ladies Lounge. Welcome to the lounge, ladies, in case y'all did not know. I also go by the name of Mocha's Cafe, so if you see me in other spaces, that is also me. I try not to, show my content name out of respect to other content creators, but every once in a while I do so just so that people could also know that as a content creator, I also support other content creators. So nevertheless, if you see Mocha's Cafe, that is me as well. So I know it's been a while, right? And I actually had a sermon up and ready to go. And due to all of the segments that I was using from the Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, my video was already blocked for copyrighted reasons before I could even post it, which is cool. I'd rather they let me know up front before I go through actually posting it and then they block it. So now I had to go back and pretty much redo my whole sermon, ensuring that I don't add or put too much other material from these networks, because they're very strict. They don't like you using their material, even though it's good advertisement for them. So one would think they would not mind the exposure, but nevertheless, a lot of these networks, they are strict. They do not want you using a lot of their content. So anyway, getting right into it. I didn't want to delay the sermon any longer, so I definitely want to go ahead and get right into it. Appreciate everybody for coming. Thanks to the mod squad who's holding it down with the wrenches. Handle your business. If you see anybody coming in, getting out of pocket, trying to change the element in the room, do what you got to do. I don't mind a difference in opinion as long as it is respectfully. So this is a very touchy subject. A lot of women we all have various opinions when it comes to these succubus, these side chicks, these harlots, and these married men who unfortunately do not respect their vows, do not respect their covenant with God. And it's very unfortunate that it is the wives. The wives are the ones that are constantly being attacked when these men, when their husbands do not respect their vows. Everybody automatically wants to, attack the wife, attack the woman who did what she was supposed to do. She honored, obeyed, and respected her vows. And it's unfortunate that when a wife still chooses to do the right thing, even when her husband is going in error, even if it's multiple times, married women are still being ridiculed for honoring their vows, and unfortunately, this is one of those things that come with marriage that a lot of people are not going to understand. Marriage is very easy to get in, but it's something that's very hard to get out of. And even though you have a lot of outsiders that are, attacking these women and belittling these women who were doing their part as wives, being faithful, honoring their vows, honoring the for better or for worse. But these are the times in which wives are being ridiculed and side chicks are being given a pass. This is the type of world we live in. Anything that's right, people are going to make it wrong. Anything that is wrong, people are going to make it right. And it's gotten to the points in which, you know, everyone can empathize and sympathize for the most part when it comes to the side chicks. It's like, you know, they're so vulnerable. Well, he knew he was married. He shouldn't have dealt with her. He shouldn't have even got involved with her. And even though I totally agree with this, and I do believe that married men do need to be held to a higher standard when it comes to accountability, but at the same time, we cannot give these succubuses a pass like they're just the victims. Like, he knew he was married, and so did she. And it doesn't negate from the fact that you have side chicks who say things like, well, he was the one that was married, I'm not. But this is the problem. You are trying to downplay your role and your accountability based off the merit that you wasn't the one that was married, okay? But the fact that you got involved with the married man who you not only see is disrespecting you by getting involved with you to begin with, but you also are witnessing that he's disrespecting his wife. He's disrespecting his vows. And to add insult to injury, a lot of these women, they have the audacity to get pregnant, okay, by these married men, and as if there's not more collateral damage, they have the audacity to want to place demands on how they want that married man to operate with their child, as if he didn't already have a family, as if he didn't already, you know, have obligations. And this is what you sign up for when you decide to have a child from a married man. You sign up with being put last. You sign up with your child being put last. You sign up with your child getting treated different. You sign up to have a father that could only, you know, accommodate, you know, the child that y'all have together within his schedule, versus having the luxury of having him as a full-time father, being that he already has children with his wife that he has to also be responsible for, and also owe obligations of, you know, providing for as well. So this is what you sign up for, but nobody wants to talk about this. Everybody wants to attack the wife who is still making the choice to stand by. Now, I will say this. The purpose of this sermon is to not encourage women to stay in marriages in which they are consistently disrespected. However, I will not discourage a woman who still honors her vows even though her husband made this decision not to. Because the truth is, and we're going to go into this as we continue with the sermon, these men that have violated their vows, violated their marriage, they are going to get dealt with. Their karma is constantly, you know, going to keep them having to tread lightly. So rather, if a woman decides to stay in her marriage or decides to leave her marriage, guess what? God is still going to hold these men accountable for not honoring and obeying their vows, okay? So, I personally felt the situation with Kirk and Rasheeda would definitely make a good fit for this sermon and this topic. And as we all know, us mellometers, those of us who have been rocking with Melody since Love and Marriage Huntsville first began, we've watched how Melody's marriage unraveled due to Martell's constant infidelities. And to see where it has landed him, and to see where it has landed Ariane Airbnb air mattress queen, we see that, guess what? You don't have to punish a man. You don't have to retaliate. You do not have to do anything to a man that has hurt you, disrespected you, and has violated his commitment that he made before God, before you or with you, okay? He's going to get dealt with. His karma is going to consistently keep collecting. He's going to be in debt with karma for a lifetime. And we see it fall. We're seeing these men lose. We're seeing, the L's that they are constantly taking for those who chose to not respect and honor their vows. So the sermon of today is why broken women create broken homes. And the truth is, you have a lot of these men out here who are still dealing with the spirit of lust. They are very lustful. And anytime you're dealing with a man who lacks discipline, he does not have the spiritual awareness and spiritual discernment to avoid putting himself in situations that involve temptations, knowing that he does not have the strength to fight those urges. Anytime you're dealing with a worldly man, a man that is within the world, he is going to bring all type of demons with him in his household, in his marriage. Not only that, when these married men step outside of their marriages and they fornicate and commit adultery by having sexual relations with other women, it opens doors to a lot of demonic pathways, which means now that you have slept with this woman, you have now collected whatever demonic spirits that woman has had, is now transferred into you and now has also transferred into your marriage. So it's more to lust than just fulfilling your own sexual pleasures. Keep in mind that you collect spirits whenever you sexually get involved with other people outside of your marriage. So if you are having sexual relations outside of your marriage with a woman that's bitter, broken, scorned, confused, miserable, you too will also adopt those spirits. Because why? Spirits are transferable. Okay? It's not just STDs. It's not just semen that's being exchanged. You have these demonic spirits that are being exchanged. And this is why, if people really understood the delicacy of sex, and they understood how personal and how spiritually sacred sex is, if they understood the power behind sex, they wouldn't be having it so recklessly. Sex was not designed for lustful men to get their rocks off and for these succubus, Jezebel spirited women to get their rocks off and also secure the bag. That is not what God put sex on this earth for. That is not why sex was designed. Sex was specifically designed for husband and for wife. And if everybody treated sex in the manner the way God created it, guess what? There would not be multiple single parent households. There would not be sexually transmitted disease. There would not be children conceived out of wedlock or conceived within marriages if people had respect for marriage the way God had intended it from the beginning. But what has happened, like a lot of things, people are going against the word of God and they are falling into the world. Okay? When you stray away from the word, you fall in alignment with the world. Meaning you start doing things the world does it. You start operating in the flesh, right? Once you start operating in the flesh, you start slowly but surely you start losing your spiritual awareness. You lose spiritual discernment. Why? Because flesh has taken over. You're so busy focused on what I want, what I need. Your desire takes over discernment. And that is the problem with the world in which we operate, Everybody is specifically making decisions based on what feels good to them, what benefits them. And this is the reason why when we go against the will and the word of God and we start having these problems and things start unraveling to the point to where we feel like we have no control over anything in our lives, where we have lost all control, where we have lost all of our senses, it's because that you have learned to follow the world instead of learning to submit to the word. And for these lustful married men, this is the reason why it is being exposed and brought to us, why we think it's just mere entertainment. God is allowing these men in these marriages right before our eyes to be exposed, so we can learn, not just for entertainment purposes only, not just so we can get some good tea that us bloggers can use to keep y'all entertained, but it's also to keep you informed that when you operate in the flesh and you operate with your lust, this gives the enemy full control to flood the floodgates and bust open the pits of hell to a whole new realm of problems that you're going to be stuck with having to live with, right? So I wanted to talk in regards to Rasheeda and Kirk, because I see how there's so many women that have given Rasheeda so much disrespect and have belittled her and have attacked her. And the funny part is, Rasheeda did nothing wrong, other than in the eyes of the world, she is still committed with her lustful with her lustful worldly husband, who still has issues not submitting to the word of God, and instead is allowing his lust to submit to the world. He's submitting to his lust instead of submitting to the word of God. And this is what happens, when you have men who don't have a relationship with God. They start seeking fulfillment and satisfaction in areas in which is detrimental not only to them spiritually, but to their family, emotionally, mentally. Because what these married men have to understand, when you step outside of your marriages, is not only the fact that you're violating your wife and your vows, but you're violating your children, who are supposed to look up to you, you are supposed to lead by example. As a man, this is how I treat y'all mother. I treat your mom like a queen. I respect your mom like a queen. I'm teaching you how you should treat a woman you love. See, it's a domino effect. When a man steps outside of his marriage and violates his vows, it's a domino effect. Everyone is impacted and affected by his choices, especially when there's another outside child that has been created. Because the truth is, a lot of these kids, they look up to their fathers as heroes. No matter how trifling, disrespectful, selfish, and ignorant they are, children love their fathers, and that's just one of the unfortunate things about these type of situations, because children, they don't know how to process those feelings when the man that you love and treasure, which is your father, has also hurt and disrespected the woman you treasure, which is the mother. So I want to get and talk about Kirk and Rasheeda. For those of you who are not aware of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta season, that's the season that started off. If you've been crawling up under the rock for a while, or you fell off and stopped watching it, it was the original Atlanta season, in which it was Stevie J, Jocelyn and Mimi and Carly Red. You know, that those are the original cast members, okay? Then, you know, Scrappy, Bam came on later. So, you know, like a lot of these reality shows, they start changing things around. You don't see the same cast members as much. However, Rasheeda and Kirk has been one of the most consistent couples throughout every season of Love and Hip Hop of Atlanta, right? So we have witnessed Rasheeda go through a lot with Kirk. I'm gonna just show a couple of pictures in case, like I said, you know, you've been crawling up under a rock and haven't been keeping up. So Rasheeda and Kirk are pretty much veterans, you know, of Love and Hip Hop. Okay, they've been on the show for a long time, and this is Kirk and Rasheeda here, in case you have forgotten about them. Now, Rasheeda, even though a lot of people give her a lot of flack, and a lot of people come for her so strongly, she's definitely a boss chick within her right. This woman owns a lot of businesses, has her own real estate, owns her own clothing boutique. Not to mention, they have a restaurant in Atlanta called Frost Bistro. Me and my husband went a couple of weeks ago. I posted it in my community tab, in case you missed it. And it was a really, really nice restaurant. I enjoyed the vibe. It was very adultish. A little smaller than, you know, what I can gather just based off the pictures, but it was cozy. It wasn't a uncomfortable, tight knit, closed in space. It was spacious enough for its purpose. Okay, so we went to Frost Bistro. And when I say the food was phenomenal, I had the grits and oxtails. A lot of y'all might not be from the South, so you're not familiar with that. But oxtails is a really big thing here. And I enjoyed it. And my husband had the strawberry waffle with the fried chicken. So people can say what they want to say, but I will give Rasheeda this. The woman is fierce. And her business and how she operates, you know, as a boss. And she even came to the table and spoke with us. And I was surprised because you rarely ever see these celebrities or stars, they come to their own restaurants. You know, they're so busy doing them, they just leave their restaurants on family and their workers. They have very little involvement unless something goes wrong or something like that. But to see her come in there like a regular chick, go from table to table and speak to everyone, I thought that was just so phenomenal, you know. And when I say she's beautiful and stunning in person, very beautiful. And she's shorter than what I had in mind too. She's very short. But I'm short. I'm 5 foot even. So I was surprised to say that she's shorter than what I had envisioned, but she's very beautiful. And she came to the table very politely and asked us, was we enjoying everything, and how did we like the place so far? And then we told her, you know, it was on a Saturday, so it was very packed, and it took a while for our food to come. And we did let her know, you know, we had been waiting on, you know, our food for a while, and she politely apologized, and she said, well, I understand. She said, you know, good food, it does take a little time, and that's because we're making it fresh. So she even explained, you know, she didn't just, oh, well, you know, it'll get here when it get here. You can just tell she's very passionate about her business, passionate about what she does. That was the vibe and the energy I got from her in just that little bit of time that I met her. So she was very, very sweet. And of course, Kirk was there also. I noticed Kirk was kind of standoffish. He did walk around and interact, but I felt like he was only kind of interacting with people he knew. He didn't seem as outgoing. I don't know if it's because the season started and he knows everybody knows him for his shenanigans. So I don't know if it was he's just naturally shy, or if he's embarrassed about the current circumstances and stuff. When my husband spoke to him, he just kind of was like, hi, and he kept going. He didn't want to stop and really interact. So, some men are shy, so I don't know if it was that or what. But it was very interesting to actually see them personally, other than from always seeing them on the show. But they had a good crowd, good vibes. The food was phenomenal. I would definitely be going back to Frost Bistro if I ever go back to Atlanta sometime soon. But we really enjoyed ourselves, and she was a very, very sweet woman. And like I said, anytime these men step outside these marriages and do something embarrassing, what does everybody do? They go for the juggler of the wife. Oh, you weak, you dumb, you lust of a woman. How dare you sit up there and take all this disrespect? And I'm like, okay, if y'all want to go in on Kirk, okay? Rasheeda didn't do the cheating, okay? Rasheeda's not the one who has an outside baby. If you want to badger and beat somebody down, do that with Kirk. Because, yes, Kirk does deserve it. And he's even admitted that with everything that's going on, that he's America's hated man. And righteously so. He calls that. As I said, you don't have to beat these men down. I mean, you, as a married woman, you don't have to try to retaliate and get even. Listen, God honors marriage. And as long as you're doing what you're supposed to do, God is still going to bless you abundantly. Whether you stay in these marriages or whether you go, God is going to bless the one who is respecting marriage, because God honors marriage. Regardless of how we feel, regardless of what outsiders feel, God is watching how we treat our wives. God is watching how we treat our husbands. So it's very, as hard as it is, the truth of the matter is, in situations like this, it takes a lot of grace. It takes a lot of strength to still honor the vows of your marriage, even though your husband does not. On top of that, you got outsiders being disrespectful. When you're still healing, you're still trying to adjust to this new journey in your marriage, to this new opposition in your marriage. It's already painful. It's already embarrassing. And you got to keep a smile on your face just to avoid crumbling and folding in front of the whole world who's witnessing, all of your trials and tribulations. And the truth is, if nobody knew anything about what Kirk and Rasheeda was doing, and all they saw was the wonderful things, like the restaurant they got open, like, the show they're doing, if everybody only witnessed all of the great things, people would be swearing up and down Rasheeda had a wonderful husband. If nobody never ever knew what Kirk did, everybody would have been like, oh, that's a power couple. Power couple goals. See, as long as people don't know about you, it gives them less room to critique, and it gives them less room to be able to attack and badger you. But the problem is, you have a lot of miserable individuals out there, and nobody really wants to see other people happy. So the moment they see that you and your significant other are still willing to stand strong, weather the storms together, regardless of how ugly, how severe, how dreadful it may be, it's going to always be people that's going to remind you. I don't care how good you do. I don't care if y'all done prayed about it. If y'all said, you know what, I know this is ugly, I know this is embarrassing, but we're going to get through this as husband and wife. You got outsiders more angry about your situation than you are. And this is the reason why it's better to keep things private, because when people know your business and what's going on in your household, they get mad. They get more mad than you. I've seen women come in under Rasheeda's Instagram, and she could post. I've seen her do it, because I follow her on Instagram. I've seen her post her business. I've seen her post a new truck, just posting things that she want to share, you know what I mean, because it's her Instagram. I cannot count on my fingers how many times somebody got to come under the comment section and say, oh, you got a new truck? I wonder if Kirk brought his baby mama a new truck. And I'm like, you know what? People are not going to let you be great. And this is why the couples that y'all are idolizing, they're playing it smart. If they do have outside kids, y'all will never know it. If there was infidelity or cheating, y'all are never going to know it, because a lot of these other celebrity couples, they done got smart with covering and holding down their issues, because all of these couples y'all idolizing, who y'all consider as power couples like Will and Jada and all of these, you know, these reality show marriages, and half of them ain't even together anymore. Everyone who y'all have ever idolized and tried to give all of this homage as couple goals, slowly but surely we've seen a lot of these marriages, we've seen how they play out. And that's why you really can't idolize anybody. Just because a person is more transparent with things that are going on behind closed doors, it does not make their marriage less messier than people who are hiding what's going on behind closed doors. You just don't know. Don't think for a second Rasheeda is the only woman who done dealt with her husband having a child on the outside. A lot of couples who y'all worship, who y'all praise, who y'all think are doing so great, who y'all think are doing so well, a lot of these women are going through all type of things in their marriages, and they know that if they were to be transparent and put it out there, all of the ridicule that's going to come with it. So you got a lot of women, they're being smart about it. They playing it safe. You know, Kirk is not the only, it's plenty of other. Kirk is not the only one who has cheated. It's not the only one who has had children. And I don't say that to downplay that, you know, we should give these men a pass because there's so many men doing it. But what I'm saying is, the problem with the world is when you open up, you know, all of your issues within your marriage, it gives them room to attack. And that's what happened with Kirk and Rasheeda. There's nothing they going through that we don't already know other couples have gone through it. Okay? We've seen Brandy, I think her name is Brandy Maxwell, I think. What's on the show? I want to say Basketball Wives. And we know her husband had an outside child on her. And of course, when she got into it with one of the cast members, I think one of them even threw it up in her face. Yeah, it's her husband here. You know, they've been transparent about his infidelities as well. So, I say all that to say this, you know, all this praise and idolizing and worshiping all these couples, listen, you don't know half of what these women are going through behind closed doors. So as you figure, because you know what's going on in somebody's household, it gives you room to attack. Keep in mind that the ones who are hiding are being discreet. You don't need to be praising them no more than you are attacking those who you do know of that has been transparent and open. Because they are no better than the ones who are being transparent. Like Exodus says, you know, chapter 20, 14 verse. You shall not commit adultery. And those who have committed adultery, they are paying the price. So let's get back into Kirk and Rasheeda. Now I want to point something out to y'all, because there's a reason why. And I don't say this to make people empathize, sympathize. Listen, if your husband did it to you, hey, I respect any woman that says, that's where I draw the line. No, once my husband violates me in that manner, it's curtains. It's a wrap. I respect women who would not tolerate that level of disrespect, but at the same time, I also respect women who, on the other hand, have found peace with their husband's poor choices and have learned, you know what? As embarrassing as this is, as painful as it is, I am going to make the decision to keep my marriage and overcome this, and somehow, some way, we work through this together. I ain't knocking no woman who stays or no woman who goes, because you never really know until you get in that situation. And for instance, if you was in that situation and you made the decision to leave and it's worked for you, that's even better. So I don't knock any woman's choices, because marriage is a very personal, sacred thing. And the problem is, people want to have so much of a say so when it comes to marriage. I don't get in people's marriages. I don't tell a woman if she should stay or she should go, because that's a very personal, intimate, spiritual situation. Regardless of how ugly and unpleasant the circumstances are, that's just something I stray away from, because marriage is very sacred, you know. And that's why you have a lot of people that's making a decision. They're not doing reality shows. They're not, you know, being open and transparent, because they don't want their skeletons being put out there where y'all can drag them and bash them and attack them. And honestly, that is the best way these days, because the world does not appreciate transparency. They don't respect transparency. A lot of things I would like to share more that I feel could be a benefit to women, but because I know women could be so mean, evil, and nasty, it's just certain things about my life and my journey I'm not going to share on my channel, because everybody does not embrace your journey. And because you made a decision different from what they would drag you for it, as if they didn't make decisions that you probably would not do. Okay? So we all have our own level of what we can tolerate and what we can't tolerate. So go to Kirk and Rasheeda. I found this very interesting, right? And I always kind of felt this way. I always felt like this was one of those situations in which Kirk played on Rasheeda from the day he had met her. You have to keep in mind, Kirk is 7 years older than Rasheeda. Okay? So, during the duration of their relationship, Kirk was what, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17. Kirk was 23 and Rasheeda was between the age of 15, 16 when she met Kirk. Okay? Now, older men, they know how to charm younger women. As you can see, this is an older picture of Kirk. Kirk was a full-grown man, 23, and taking Rasheeda to the prom. Okay, and this is what a lot of these, you know, worldly minded men, they intentionally go after younger women. And the reason why young women are so easy to fall prey to older men, because in these pictures, although we can't stand Kirk now, and we know him as Kirk with the 3 earrings, and we can't stomach even being in the same grocery line with him, you have to look at this from the mindset of a 15, 16-year-old female, okay? So take your 40-year-old something grown woman knowledge, because the knowledge you have now, you did not have it then, okay? The knowledge I have now, I did not have it then, okay? So you have to look at this from the mindset of being a 15, 16-year-old young woman who has this attractive, tall, well put together older man who's interested in you. Kirk was one of those playboys back in the day who, again, had the looks, had the charm, whether if you would have saw him as your type or not. The whole point I'm saying is he was able to captivate Rasheeda with whatever she saw in him. Rather if it was his looks, his money, or whatever. Kirk always had money. Kirk always been a money man, okay? He always had nice cars. He had charisma. You know, like I said, don't look at the Kirk today. We're talking about the Kirk back in 94 and 95, all right? Before he became the Kirk, we learned to hate, okay? All right, so Kirk knew he had an advantage that Rasheeda did not have. Rasheeda was young, hadn't fully transitioned into becoming a woman. All she knew was, here it is this older guy who's feeling me. He's spending money on me. He has cars. You know, he's giving me things. And let's be frank. Hopefully there's no children in the bedroom. We don't know what Kirk did sexually that Rasheeda probably never experienced before, let alone with guys her age. These older men know exactly what to do. That is how my older husband got my simple young ass. Okay? When men your age are inexperienced, they don't know how to treat a woman. They don't know how to spend money on a woman. Most guys your age, 15, 16, they just want, you know, they just want the booty and not having to do their duty. You get what I'm saying? That's how younger guys your age operated. I never dealt with guys my age because they were always childish. All they wanted was the draws without even, you know, taking me to get a 6-inch Subway sandwich, okay? That's how most guys your age rock. They're very selfish and they all about getting their rocks off. Older guys, on the other hand, even though they are no better as far as, you know, their ulterior motives, like these younger men, which is to get what they can get out of you, they know how to work up the charm. They know how to spend money on you. They know how to take you places. They know how to do things with you in the bedroom that a lot of young guys ain't gonna take the time to do. Oh no, I ain't eating that. I ain't doing that. I ain't. With them older men, they down for whatever it takes to please you, to get you to fall in love with them. They just know what they're doing. And Kirk was one of those guys, you could tell he had already been out there. He had already been with multiple women. He was still in his playboy stage. But Rasheeda didn't know the game like he knew the game. And in most cases, that's the way it is. Most young women do not know they're being played or molded or manipulated by older men. Now, this article that I'm about to read, it hits on a lot of points because I always felt the same way. I always felt like one of the reasons Rasheeda would never leave Kirk was because Kirk got her very young. And in many instances, when a man gets you during your youth, when you're inexperienced and you don't know anything, in most cases, older men that have gotten their wives very young, those wives are more than likely to take more off of them compared to an event. She would have been older and had the knowledge she had now, she probably would not have tolerated as much. Most of the time, these older men, they have a big advantage. And that's how they're able to capture the younger woman. And I strongly believe that is why Rasheeda to this day has not loved Kirk. Kirk got Rasheeda when she was a child, okay? And when we think about Rasheeda's mom, some of these mothers, now I don't know if this is the case. I don't like talking about nobody mama because I don't want nobody to talk about my mom, okay? Her mother could have been one of those type of moms, knew that her daughter was in love, and even though she knew that Kirk was way too old, Rasheeda was probably very adamant, like, I'm going to see him. I don't care. I like him. I love him. I want to be with him. So versus Rasheeda being sneaky and going behind her back, maybe her mom was like, I don't want this for her, but I know she's going to keep seeing this older guy, so I don't want her to rebel against me. So you got some mothers that will go along to get along. You got some mothers that would rather be a friend instead of a mom. So I don't know if that's how Kirk was able to get away with getting Rasheeda at such a young age, and Rasheeda mom accepting it. That could have been the case. Or two, Rasheeda's mom may be one of those moms that, you got some moms that are like this. If they daughters are dating older guys and that older guy has money, they don't mind because the mother knows that she's going to be able to capitalize off of that as well. You got some older women that are mothers that are down with their daughters dating older men, because they looking at it like, I'd rather my daughter be with an older man who can provide, take care of her not struggle. I'd rather her be with an older man than be with one of these young builder bums out here who can knock her up, get her pregnant, and not have a bucket to give her or a window to throw it out of. You know, a bucket of piss to give her and a window to throw it out of, whatever. You got some older women who think like that. They would rather their daughters be with an older man who can provide than to be with a young ninja who can't provide and can't do nothing. Okay? So, you got some women with that mindset. Hit the like button, y'all. By the way, if you're coming in and you're joining, I would appreciate it. Get the likes up. Big ups to the Mod Squad. Big ups to anybody who's coming here for the first time and you like the content. Appreciate you for hanging out here. Make sure you subscribe. Join the family. Big ups to all my members who paying $3 a month. Appreciate y'all. Thank you very, very much. So, getting right into that. That's the point I want to make. Now, let me read this article, right? Because I like the way this sister breaks it down. She says, so let's go down memory lane and unpack why bubblegum rapper Rasheeda can't let Kirk Frost the F go. Now, marinate on this because she makes some very interesting points. And I always felt this way. I'm just glad she broke it down to the simple common denominator. So, Rasheeda has allegedly been with Kirk since she was 15 years old. It has always been said that Mama Shirlene allegedly let Kirk adopt Rasheeda at 15 years old, and from that point he started his relationship with her. Shaking my head. I heard that too. Rasheeda was 17 years old when she married 24-year-old Kirk Frost. Now, while I don't believe the adoption thing, I do believe that her mother may have signed off for her minor child Rasheeda, who was 17 at the time of the marriage, to get married to 24-year-old Kirk. That makes way more sense than him adopting her. Still sick though, I agree. As if it ain't a video from Rasheeda's birthday party in 2010 has resurfaced, and in that video everyone is cackling about how Kirk was always picking Rasheeda's pretty ass up when she was in high school in the flyest cars. Like I said, older men, that's what they do. They know how to spend money on you, you know, stuff like that. So basically, she ain't going nowhere. He has been with her for over 20 years and has had her head gone since high school, and there's a prime photo below to back it up. In addition to the photos, there's a video in the comments of them cackling about her getting scooped up from high school by Kirk. Now, ironically, the same thing happened with Vanessa Bryant. Rest in peace to her husband, Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant did the same exact thing. Vanessa's mother allowed Kobe Bryant to date Vanessa, knowing Vanessa was still a minor. But because Kobe Bryant had the money, her mother gave her a pass, and Kirk became comfortable with seeing Vanessa, even though she was only 15, 16, picking her up in his Bentleys, his Lamborghinis from high school. You know, so these older men, again, they know how to groom younger women into being with them. And not only do they groom younger women, they groom the parents of the minor women into accepting it. Long as you got that money, you'll be surprised. Better ask R. Kelly how many parents allowed their children and daughters to be under his care. Let's not act like stuff like this don't happen. So this is pictures of Kirk and Rasheeda from back in the day. This is their prom, okay? So this is how far back they go. Okay. Yeah, and he is in this picture with her prom. Okay. Looks much older than her. Of course, this is a younger picture back in the day too. This looks like their son. Okay, looks like their son in the back. He's a grown man now. So this is another picture of them together. This is another younger picture of him. Listen, when these younger women fall in love with these older men, you have to realize, look how much older Kirk is. And I'm not saying this to make y'all empathize or sympathize, just for y'all to understand why Rasheeda has been in this marriage as long as she has been in this marriage. This is another younger picture. Now, Rasheeda definitely looks like a little girl here, definitely compared to Kirk. Now, again, this is Kirk. Kirk has always been a money man and a man with cars, very flashy. When you're 15, 16 years old, you will take the bait. You will fall for this. So again, we have to look at this from the mindset of a younger woman. He's spending his money. He got all these nice cars. You know, any younger woman would have got fascinated by being introduced to this type of lifestyle. Because, again, most guys your age, they can't provide you with this type of luxury. So, Kirk knew that. And this is a younger picture of them back in the day as well. So, basically, like I said, he hasn't, like, been an ugly guy, you know what I mean? So she definitely, you know, she fell in love with him because him being older, he knew what to say, he knew what to do, to basically run game and to get over on her. And this is the reason why you have some women that's been married for 50, 60, 70 years, but if you get their age, most of the time they were very young. Some of these women were very young. Women who have been married for 30, 40, 50 something years, they were very young. They was probably 15, 17 when they got married. Okay? So that's basically the point that I really wanted to make, to get everybody to understand. When you have these older guys, they know how to prey on younger females. All right? So getting back into this, right? You know, Kirk stepped outside of his marriage. His marriage of, I think it was 20 years at the time. They were 20 years in. I think it's 24. They've been married for like 25 years now. But I think 19 or 20 years in, Kirk starts wilding out. Okay? And this is what happens when you are married to men who don't have a solid relationship with God. It gives the enemy, it gives the devil room to infiltrate. And unfortunately, Kirk made the decision to step outside of his marriage and not respect his vows, and it created a child in the process. So, getting on these reality shows, unfortunately, and I've heard many reality show cast members say this, it seems like once you sign up for these reality shows, that's when things kind of start going wrong in your life, and you have to be transparent about these things. They said something about when those cameras get to rolling, something about when you sign that contract, all of your secrets, all of your skeletons that you hid in the closet, all of a sudden it starts making its way forward. It starts rearing its ugly head, right? And that's basically what ended up happening. Kirk got himself involved with Jasmine, again, who is a younger woman, just like Rasheeda was, okay? And now what has happened is him having this affair on Rasheeda has caused a lot of people to attack his wife. You got women on social media dragging Rasheeda, who again, hit the like button, y'all. She did absolutely nothing but be a good wife, be a good mother, and women are coming for her. And not only women are coming for her, women are coming for him. They're making a mockery out of him. They're dragging him. And the ironic part is, I've noticed with all the comments and all the research, a lot of people are having more empathy and sympathy for Jasmine. A lot of people believe Jasmine more than they believe what Rasheeda has to say, and definitely more than what Kirk has to say, and I can understand that part. But a lot of people are having more empathy with Jasmine than they are with Rasheeda. Not understanding Rasheeda didn't do anything wrong. Everyone should be feeling some type of way against Kirk and Jasmine. These are the two individuals who participated in the wrongdoing. And that's the problem. When these men step out and they bring us humiliation, you automatically end up, paying the price for somebody else's decisions. Okay? So, the fact that Rasheeda chose to stay in this marriage, a lot of people don't respect her for that. And the truth is, in the vows, even in the Bible, there's nothing stating that you should leave your marriage under these pretenses. When it came to divorce, that was a rule Moses said. But just like God said, he never intended it to be so. So God was never really for the divorce. But Moses was the one who created the law. Now, I don't say that to say no matter what your husband do, you're supposed to stand by it no matter what. But what I am saying is, for those who choose to, they should not be ridiculed and viciously attacked for honoring their vows. Attack those who did not honor it. Attack Kirk first and attack Jasmine, because both of them knew exactly what they were doing. Now, when it comes to Kirk, I do hold him to a higher standard because he was married. But at the same token, side chicks think they can get a pass because in their mind, well, I wasn't married, he was. But this is the problem. You knew he was married and you still was a willing participant. So guess what? That does not get you off the hook no more than it does this married man. Okay? And that's just the bottom line, right? So, get into it. I know I'm not going to be able to play any snippets because that's what got me copyrighted before. So, let me see how I can do this. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the video. But, I'm not going to play the sound. So I'm just going to kind of have to narrate it myself, okay? So, what has happened, y'all? Kirk has put himself in an ugly position. In a very, 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 very funky position. Right? And now, he has... I'm trying to get it to the... I guess I'll just leave it at right here with her coming in. Now it's gotten to the point now to where Kirk has put himself in a very bad predicament. He has his wife, Rasheeda, whom he has publicly humiliated, whom he has publicly disgraced. Everyone is attacking Rasheeda because of Kirk's actions. Okay? And he has to now repair the damage he has caused with his marriage with his wife. But on top of that, he now has to answer to the mistress, Jasmine, the succubus, whom he chose to have sex with unprotected and not respect his vows. So he has to deal with both of these women, okay? And one thing I know about side chicks, what burns side chicks more than anything is when a wife decides to stay. Nothing makes a side chick more angry than a wife that won't leave. Because back in the day, side chicks were just happy with just getting money and getting their bills paid, and they were going their merry way. It doesn't work like that anymore. These new breed side chicks, they want to destroy another woman's nest. They can't just get the child support and get the Bentley and get on. No. They got to constantly let it be known that they have a position in which they should be ashamed, they should be embarrassed, but it's all about hurting the other woman. Why? Because they're hurt. As the saying goes, hurt people hurt people, okay? And you have a lot of these side chicks who will intentionally get themselves involved with these no good married men, seeing the mere fact, seeing that they don't even respect their own vows, but because they're hurt, they want another woman to be in pain like they're in pain, okay? So they don't mind taking a chance with these married men because they too want another woman to hurt like they're hurting, okay? 1 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 18. Flee from sexual immorality. All other sins a person commits are outside the body, but whoever sins sexually sins against their own body. Okay? So, it finally got to a point now to where Rasheeda, Kirk, and Jasmine have to meet up. And the reason they're meeting up is because Jasmine has been having issues with not parenting Cannon in a way in which it would prevent defects from even getting involved. Okay? So, they're having this meeting because Jasmine has been having defects. Let me back it up. Defects contacted Kirk. And of course, Kirk had to tell Rasheeda because Jasmine and Kirk's son, Cannon, has excessive tardies in school. Okay? So, I don't know why Jasmine has not been able to get him to school on time. I can understand once or twice, but we all know that truancy is a law. And anytime children are excessively tardy or excessively absent, defects will get in that you know what. They will get in your backside if your kids are late to school all the time or they don't come at all. Okay? So that's what brought this meeting, alright? Because it's gotten to the point where defects is reaching out to Kirk. And that should not be. Okay? You never want defects to reach out to your baby daddy. Okay? Alright? It makes your parenting looks terribly bad. And that's basically what happens. So Rasheeda not Rasheeda, but Jasmine comes strutting up in there, you know, with her tight pants and her, you know, her new refurbished booty, her new BBL, you know what I'm saying? I guess once that child support payment started increasing, so did her new butt job, okay? Because you could tell she clearly got a BBL done, right? So, they're sitting here in Rasheeda's restaurant, and Jasmine wants to know why Kirk has not been getting Cannon. Why has he not been reaching out, not been really active? And Kirk, basically, his explanation was, well, look here, I'm sending you money, I'm doing my part as a father, you know, and her Jasmine's reply, which in a sense she was right. Money doesn't replace everything. What about you spending time with him? What about you seeing him? You haven't been active. You don't come around. So she's saying all of these things while Rasheeda is sitting there. And, Kirk is like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, so I don't get what the problem is. So basically, Rasheeda intervenes and says, you know what, okay, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, there's some other issues that need to be discussed. Other than you just wanting to come for Kirk about what he's been doing and what he's not doing when it comes to Cannon, because why is DFAX contacting us? And Rasheeda was like, something is really, really wrong anytime DFAX has to get involved. That's not a good look. So Rasheeda is basically calling Jasmine out, okay? And not really co-signing with Jasmine on the fact that Kirk hasn't been really active with Cannon. And see, as a side chick, this is the very frustrating part about having a child from a married man. It gives his wife leverage to complain and have an opinion about your parenting. This is what you sign up for when you have a child from a married man. It's not just you and him. His wife, his significant other, she is also in on it as well. So this gives her room to opinionate on the things that she sees from her point of view. And let's just be honest, a lot of these wives ain't gonna always check their husband, not in front of you anyway, about how you feel when it comes to your child that y'all have together. If you notice in this scene, Kirk and Rasheeda was both tag teaming Jasmine. Now Jasmine was holding her own. She didn't just sit there and took a line down. But this is the frustrating part about having a child from a married man that these side chicks don't talk about. You got to not only deal with the married man, but you also got to deal with the wife, okay? So Rasheeda's putting her 2 cents in, because again, she's looking at it. Listen, I'm not going to help you beat down my husband or go against my husband, regardless of, even though y'all got a child together, whatever the case is, I'm going to call you out on your BS. I'm not going to help you call my husband out on his BS. This is the frustrating part about dealing with a married man. His wife is going to always defend him regardless of how wrong he is. This is what you signed up for, Jasmine, right? So Jasmine replies and says, well, yes, that did happen. However, it did get dismissed. So Jasmine is not really taking accountability. Like, okay, yeah, DFAX did call y'all, but you know what? I was wrong for that. I'm working on that. I'm working on being more responsible. I'm working on getting Cannon, to school on time. She just blew that off. Like, okay, yeah, I get it, but that happened. But is that the only reason y'all called me here? So Jasmine is upset with the fact that Kirk and Rasheeda have not really been reaching out. More so, Kirk has not really been reaching out about Cannon until something went wrong. So that's why Jasmine is in her feelings like, what, now y'all want to contact me now that DFAX in my shit, in my business right now? Y'all only contacted me because of something I did wrong. But when I wanted you to be there or be more active, y'all didn't reach out for me for that, okay? So that's what's pissing Jasmine off. Like, so this why y'all want to meet me, so y'all can ridicule me about what I'm not doing as a parent, okay? So that was one of the issues, okay? So of course Kirk, as I said earlier, he tries to justify, no, you're not going to make me look like an ain't shit dad. I send money. I do what I'm supposed to do, blah, 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 this, and that, and third. So, they get through all of that. So, they're going back and forth, having this whole dialogue, and she wants Kirk to do things a certain way when it comes to Cannon. This is the part that you sign up for when you have a child from a married man. Kirk tells her, look here, I'm doing what I feel I need to do within my own reach or however, but I'm not going to do things exactly the way you want me to do it because we're married. I mean, because we have a child. Let me make sure I say that correctly. So Kirk is basically telling Jasmine, I am going to deal with him accordingly to how I choose, because I already done messed things up over here with my marriage. Already got to still build my trust. Already got to make my wife feel comfortable. I done already sabotage everything on the front end over here. So until I get this cleared, until I get to a peaceful place in which my marriage could withstand this situation, I really can't get Cannon a lot. I really can't deal with him a lot. Well, this is what everybody signs up for. Kirk having his child on his wife. Guess what? He don't get to decide how often that child comes over to be with his wife who he violated and their children. Kirk is limited as far as to what Rasheeda will and won't allow. In many cases, when a man messes up and his wife decides to stay with him, the ball is in her court. If she says, I don't want him over here that often, no, you got to go over there to see him, or I don't want you dealing with that child at all, that is what he has to do to get back in good standing with his wife. Now, as an outsider, especially if you're a single mother, when I make comments like this, it makes women angry. How dare a woman take her husband back but not want to accept a child who's innocent? How dare a woman can forgive her husband and not accept the child? Very easy. For one, that's not his wife's child. She didn't have that child. And for two, he violated her, which is how this child got here. So the wife does not have to accept anything. And I said this before. Or if she does, she's the one who sets the ground rules. She's the one who's been violated. It's kind of like, being a victim of robbery. Somebody robs you. Let's say somebody carjacks you, knocks you upside your head and pulls off with your car. They find the person. The person, is incarcerated. Y'all got to go to court. And the person who robbed you is trying to tell the judge how he should pay for his actions. Well, I don't think I need to be doing 6 months in jail. I think I should be able to get right back out and get post bond so I can be with my family. No, I'm the victim here. You don't get to decide how I punish you for what you have done to me. This is the catch-22. See, this is the other thing about these type of situations, right? A lot of times when women decide to stay with their husbands after their husbands violated them, the outside looking in is looking like he's getting away with murder. It's looking like, oh, she done took him back. Now Kirk is right back in good with Rasheeda. He ain't getting really penalized for what he's done. Everybody swear up and down that Kirk is getting a pass. Not knowing behind closed doors what type of rules and restrictions and penalties he has to abide by now. Because, see, the element is different once a man has been exposed. His freedom, his feelings are probably not even counting that much, if at all, because of how he violated Rasheeda. What a lot of outsiders don't know is when these men sabotage their marriages and they have violated their vows, it changes the whole course of things to where that wife now is putting her foot down and saying, you know what, all that wilding out, everything that I used to tolerate before you violated me, that's done. Ain't no more going out with your homeboys. I need the passcodes to all your cell phones. I need the passcode. I need my name on every account. I need my name on all the businesses. See, we don't see how Rasheeda is punishing Kirk for all of the violations he committed within that marriage. Now, I get it. Some women be like, oh, F that. Once a man cheats on me, I don't want nothing to do with him. I don't want no security codes. I don't want having to put restrictions on rules. I want him to get the hell on. I want my divorce, and life goes on. I respect that if that's how you feel. But you got some women on the other hand, oh hell no. I'm not leaving my marriage. I did nothing wrong. You was the one who violated. So I tell you what, since you violated this marriage, guess what? This changes the whole game. All the stuff that I used to let you do, you can't do anymore. Basically, the man is at the mercy of the woman he violated and disrespected. I've seen this happen. I've seen men thinking because their wives have decided to still stay with them and take them back, that it was going to be an easy ride. Only for them to find out that the tables have turned and now they are miserable because the stuff their wives used to go for, their wives ain't going for it anymore. Oh no, no. I ain't no more going out of town with the homeboys. No, you gonna be here. He's at her mercy to where now he has to do everything she says because he knows really she could have divorced him and still can at any given moment. So now he's basically at her mercy. Kirk is at the mercy of Rasheeda. Now, just because y'all don't see that, just because that is not being recorded or put out for the world to see, you do not know what Rasheeda has Kirk, what new restrictions he is under. And I feel you, some women, they don't want to deal with that. They don't want to deal with that. I got to watch you. I got to be cautious about you. And I respect that. But I'm speaking in senses of why, hypothetically, why Rasheeda is probably still in that marriage is because she knows that Kirk's actions now have him at her will. He's at her will. To where he's so desperate on not losing his marriage, he's willing to do anything. And it's not just Rasheeda. It's several women out there who don't have reality shows. The ones who y'all idolize, who y'all worship, and you wonder why they got nice cars, why they got nice homes. You don't know what that man has done to where he has to go all out his way and really extend himself and being a better husband. All of these relationship goals that y'all idolize and that y'all admire from a distance, you have absolutely no idea behind closed doors why these men are going the extra mile. Hell, some of them going the extra mile because they is cheating. And to make sure everything looks great, they give that wife the world so she don't question his whereabouts. And in some instances, he's caused such collateral damage. He knows he's at her will where if I don't want this woman to get to a breaking point to where she says, I don't want this no more, I want to walk out and leave, I got to do what she says. So again, every woman deals with her pain differently. She can capitalize off of it and make it work for her. Oh, because he got exposed and he's only feeling sorry. He's only sorry for his actions because I caught him. I'ma capitalize off of that. I'ma use it to my advantage. Or you have some women like Melody did. Oh hell no. It's curtains. I want a divorce. I'm taking everything. I'm keeping everything, and I'm taking my walking papers. Now it also depends. By Kirk being a breadwinner versus Martell not being a breadwinner, it makes the dynamics a little different. When the man is the primary provider, he knows how much he can lose within that marriage. So to keep the peace, especially once he's been exposed, he knows he's at the mercy of his wife. Whatever she wants, he has to provide that. He has to produce that if he still has a chance of even saving that marriage. As for Martell, on the other hand, he wasn't really the provider like that, so it made it even easier for for Melody to be able to divorce him with a clean-cut slate. You feel me? Because she was the breadwinner, right? So, back to this situation. I know I'm not digressing. I'm all over the place. So, they bickering and they basically going back and forth about Cannon's well-being. And again, Jasmine is getting frustrated because Kirk is sitting up here acting as if, he's doing nothing wrong. He's being a wonderful father. And it's frustrating her because her parenting is being questioned. And the weird thing she's saying is, y'all are questioning my parenting, but Cannon never comes around. Cannon is not getting the attention that he's supposed to get. Rasheeda says, look, get back to this point. This is a point I almost forgot. Rasheeda says, I made a decision to stay with Kirk. So because I made the decision to stay with Kirk, I have to accept everything that comes along with it, which is righteously so. If you decide to stay with a man who violated you, disrespected you, has a child, guess what? All that comes with the package. The child and everything. So she's stating that I'm not oblivious to Kirk having a child. I understand there's a child involved, and I will accept him. I will, treat him as if he's no different. Basically, this is what Rasheeda's telling them. Jasmine says, well, yeah, you kind of saying that, but at the same time, if this is your partner and y'all decided that y'all going to stand together no matter what, then y'all both should be coming together for the sake of Cannon. But this is the thing. What Jasmine doesn't understand. You don't get to pick and choose how Rasheeda and Kirk deals with Cannon. Okay? Now, yes, Kirk is responsible for Cannon. He is obligated to taking care of Cannon. That is a fact. But you don't get to decide where to place Rasheeda. Rasheeda was there before that child was created. If she doesn't want Cannon in her house, you can't feel some type of way about that. If she doesn't want Cannon spending Christmases in her residence, you got to go with the flow. You don't have a baby from a married man and you dictate how things go, and that's basically what Rasheeda and Kirk was kind of saying, like, you don't get to make the rules, Kirk said, basically, I messed up. I created this, and I still don't get to make the rules. I'm restricted. I'm limited, not because I want to be, but because I'm in a doghouse with Rasheeda. So I don't get to tell Rasheeda, my wife, who I violated, who I disrespected, oh, Cannon got to be over here every day. Cannon got to be here on the weekends. This whole situation, there's still a lot of healing going on. It's a lot of healing. It's a lot of damage that has been done to the home front. So as a side chick, you don't get to pinpoint how Rasheeda deals with Cannon. That is between you and Kirk. Even though Rasheeda decided to stay with Cannon, you don't get the push the narrative that, okay, since you decide to stay with your husband, you got to deal with Cannon and get involved with Cannon. No, ma'am. Rasheeda does not. Okay? So, Kirk is going on, about Jasmine has been causing more chaos, talking to people in the streets, about everything that's transpiring, between them, with the events surrounding Cannon, and all of that. So, it's just a lot of, basically back and forth. No one really taking accountability, about what they should do, what their part, what their role is. And you can tell Kirk is very frustrated. And It's all because he created this. You can tell if Kirk could run and hide under a rock right now, he would, but he can't. He got to face his wife, and he got to face the side chick who he gave a life. He put himself in a miserable position, because it's the other thing. What these married men don't understand, when you have a child from these side chicks, you don't really have a say-so in how they parent that child. It's been 2 incidences in which I'm going to bring up the second incidents in a few. Defects had already gotten involved from Jasmine having Cannon excessively late multiple times. On top of that, this was just 2 weeks later, y'all. And I'm going to see if I can show that. This was just 2 weeks later. Kirk was contacted once again by defects. Jasmine had messed up again by locking. She fell asleep and locked Cannon out. So the police had contacted Kirk. Let me see if this is it. I'm gonna play this little snippet here too.
Hip hop Kirk Frost and his baby mother, you know, Jasmine, the lady that he cheated on his wife with. Yeah, her. Well, if you guys recall, especially if you had been following the show, the Department of Family and Children Services was called on Jasmine related to her continually taking her son to school late. Well, honey, it looks like the Department of Children and Family Services may be involved again. And what role, or did Kirk even play a role in this new situation, y'all? This is not looking good for Jasmine, and I know she a stripper and all, and I know she gotta do what she gotta do, but baby, this is not a good look for not even a stripper. So there is so many nuances to this story. For one, Jasmine knew that Kirk was married when she decided to jump her stankalicious self into that sack with him. But at any rate, she did get pregnant. It was not just on her, because Kirk, dude, you knew you was married as well. Absolutely. Not only did you not know that you was married, Kirk, you have an unprotected sex with a whole stripper. You know, I mean, just having unprotected sex, period. But dude, are we kidding? So, I mean, she has a son now, and it seems like all the blame is really being placed on her, when the blame, it really should be divided, because it seems like she is struggling because it's just too much happening. First, it was the thing with the Department of Children and Family Services about her taking them to school late, and now, you know, that was dismissed. But girl, now your son is locked outside on the streets. Yeah, that don't look too good for you.
And I'm going to pump the brakes here. That is why it's imperative that these married men understand that when they get themselves in these type of situations, you don't get to choose how that woman is going to parent your child. You could be having a neglectful female who's irresponsible, who does not handle business when it comes to her child. So while you're sitting up there enjoying the pleasures of the moment, you have to realize this can very well end up being the mother of your child. Who's to say she's irresponsible? Who's to say she's not trifling? You don't know how these women are, and you really won't see the real them until you have a child from them. Now, if this is the second incident, if something comes up again, Rasheeda and Kirk may end up having to give full custody of Cannon. And who's to say Rasheeda has fully healed enough to take her husband's son that he had from a mistress? It can very well get to that point because, again, this is the second incident Jasmine has had.
And we're going to get into, what actually happened. But, it's only so many excuses you can come up with. And I get it. Things do happen. But as a parent, that's why you the parent, because you looking over your child to make sure he not locked outside while you sleep in the house and he can't get back in. So I get it, though. Those things could happen, especially when you live in an apartment building that I am very familiar with. Those doors, they lock when you close it, and if you don't have a cell phone, you can't get back in. But that is why he has a mother, to make sure that he's not locked out and that he can get in. So whatever excuse anybody can give, when you have a child, you look over them to ensure those things don't happen. I get it. You live in a building that's that secure so that those things don't happen. But why is your son outside while you sleep and don't know what's going on in your house, to the point that you so sleep that he locked out, that the police is called, that your baby daddy got to pick him up, and you probably woke up not knowing where your son is? That's given very much irresponsible. Y'all, let's jump into this video and just kind of comb through what actually happened.
Now, this is the video, y'all, in which police was contacted by Kirk, and I believe it's probably Rasheeda probably recording this, and I don't blame her, because they're going to need evidence that Jasmine is not doing all of what she's supposed to do. In an event she want to come back on some, some city girl shenanigans, asking for increase in child support or whatever. This is just going to further prove they claim that Jasmine is not this fit parent that she pretends to be. But let's continue.
In the middle of joint finishing the custody. I called you. Is this something that I'm looking for? She just in the middle of joint finishing the custody.
Now, obviously, guys, that is Kirk at Jasmine's building. He is talking to the police, and as you guys can hear, he references a custody situation. And I don't know if Kurt is lying again, because I didn't get that from Jasmine, that there was any custody situation, other than Jasmine saying that Kurt does not keep his current schedule with getting Cannon.
But it's a possibility. You don't know if Kirk is trying to get some type of custody agreement. So we can't completely rule that out, especially since there's already been an incident. So who's to say? Maybe him and Rasheeda have possibly gotten together and talked about possibly doing some type of custody agreement. So we can't exactly rule that out. That's one part in which I do kind of disagree. But for the most part, this woman is on point.
So I don't know if Kurt was just lying or if there is something new that he is talking about, because other than that, there has not been anything that Jasmine has said in reference to any custody situations. The only thing she said is that Kurt does not keep Cannon at all.
And of course, if there was a custody situation, Jasmine's not going to admit to that, because again, it's all about making Kirk look like the neglectful parent and not her. But at this point, I'm looking at Jasmine with the side eye. But continue.
And apparently he doesn't, but we're going to get into what she had to say. And the reason why I'm saying that it seems like he doesn't, once I read this statement to you guys, you'll see. So this is what Jasmine had to say. She says, I would like to clarify the events that took place last Wednesday to ensure the truth is understood. On that day, I was filming a scene and my ex, who has played a significant role in my son's canon upbringing, was looking after him until I finished. So it looks like her ex-boyfriend, who she is saying was looking after Kirk's son and who also plays a significant role in his upbringing. So this is why I'm saying Kurt is definitely absent. You got a whole nother dude playing father to your son. Okay, so Jasmine says, upon returning home, my ex dropped Cannon off. So apparently Cannon was with her ex when she got done filming the scene. She said her ex dropped Cannon off and I went to bed shortly after. So it looks like after Cannon got home, she went to bed. She said later that night, my ex called to let me know he had accidentally left Cannon's book bag in his car. So he had Cannon's book bag and asked if Cannon could come to the lobby to retrieve it. So the ex called and said, hey, I got Cannon's book bag. Why don't you send him to the lobby and I'll give him his book bag. Now she says, when Cannon stepped out, he locked the front door behind him using the building's chirp system, which automatically locks the door. Unfortunately, he left his phone inside the house. So Cannon forgot to take his phone, which meant he could not unlock the door when he returned. At that time, I was asleep and unaware of the situation. Despite Cannon explaining that I was inside the house, so apparently when the police arrived, Cannon was explaining my mom is in the house, she's asleep. But what she's saying is those around.
So as y'all can see, she's basically giving a long, drawn out explanation. I'm going to see if I can fast forward.
Did not listen. This clears up any misunderstandings and provides context. It's kind of similar to what's going on now because the police are obligated to make a referral. So she will have another referral and she is definitely going to be dealing with DFACS or the Department of Children and Family Services yet again.
What is going on now with the DFACS situation? A DFACS call, that's a problem. That can get you in trouble. There's no excuses as a parent.
The case got dismissed.
You know,
what I have a problem with is that this is our first time meeting and maybe it's because of this DFACS situation. But why are you so concerned now?
I've always been concerned and I've always loved him since the first day I
heard from you.
You don't have to hear from me because Cannon knows what's up.
And I'll stop it at that because they're already really picky, about the copyright. But y'all get my drift, right? This is the situation, right? And I'm going to break this up into series because there's just no way. I can't squeeze all of this into one box because I understand it's a lot to take in. But this is what you sign up for. Kirk and Jasmine both are going to share the same equal amount of misery. Neither one is going to be able to have 100% control over how this whole situation is going to play itself out. Jasmine has to understand Kirk already had a family. He already had a wife. They're not going to totally change their circumstances to accommodate Cannon simply because you chose to have that child. Kirk, on the other hand, has to understand at some point he's gonna have to get way more involved. Even though he's trying to repair things at home with Rasheeda, he's trying to rebuild what he has broken. All of that's well and done, but at some point Jasmine is showing that she's not really handling her business as a mom. This has been the second incident, and I get it, things happen. We make mistakes. But one thing about defects, anybody who's ever dealt with defects, they could tell you, you never, ever, ever want defects in your sugar honey iced tea. Once they get in your business, they are relentless. Anytime there's another situation, whether if it's accidental or unintentional, this really stirs up the pot for Jasmine. Okay, you don't want defects in your business because they are relentless. Any slip-ups, hiccups, they will remove your child from your home. And Jasmine may get the wish she wants. You want Kirk to be more involved. If defects takes this second incident and uses this against you, he may be so involved to the point you may end up losing your son. You got to be mindful. You got to be careful. See, Kirk, this is what you signed up for. You had a child from a woman who is not handling her business. And I know this has to be new for him because Rasheeda is a hands-on mom. Rasheeda stays in her kids. She's constantly on them. So he's not used to dealing with a woman who is not on point with her child because he's been married with Rasheeda for so long, who handles everything diligently. This is what you signed up for. You signed up for possibly having a child with a woman who you constantly have to get involved, stop what you're doing, go see about your child because this woman is not handling her business. She's not being responsible. Okay? 2 incidences. I'm still trying to get past why Cannon is excessively being tardy and he's the only child. But people want to bypass that because again, the hate for Kirk and Rasheeda staying with Kirk is overpowering the fact that Jasmine's parenting skills need to be really looked at with the side eye. Okay, because again, 2 different incidences in less than a short frame of time. However, we're going to get more into that, as time goes on. I'm going to break this up into series because again, I don't want to put too much in because people start losing track. They start, losing the message. So we're going to go ahead and stop it here and say this is part 1 because I am going to get into why broken women create broken homes. All of that is going to come later. Okay, so just give it a moment. I'm going to get down to the main point at hand, but I'm going to have to break this up into parts. In the meantime, please hit the like button. Be on the lookout for that part 2 of why broken women create broken homes, and we're going to get into it. So my question of the day is, who do you think needs to be held the most liable? Is it Kirk? Is it Rasheeda for staying with Kirk, knowing what he has done, or is it for Jasmine? There's no wrong answers. I just want everybody to disagree respectfully without, disrespecting someone who has a difference in opinion. I pretty much want to know what y'all mindset is in this whole situation. I'm going to definitely read through your comments and anything that I feel would be essential for the next part 2 based off y'all comments, I will also add to the equation as well. So until then, y'all, I appreciate y'all for hanging out with me. It's your girl, your diva in knowledge, Lady Mocha, representing Mocha's Ladies Lounge, and I'll see y'all later at the lounge. Take care.